welcome to my spoiler review of Batman v Superman. So let's start off with the thing that probably pissed me off more than anything else was the Batman v Superman fight is what the title was. The whole reason why they had a fight was because Lex Luthor actually had Superman, or should I say Clark Kent's mother, Martha, kidnapped because some of his henchmen kidnapped her. So the whole thing was, you got to go to Gotham, you got to go fight Batman, fight him to the death, you have to kill them, and I want his head, and you can get your mother back. So the thing is, they had his mother for an hour, and then the thing was that they were timing down and all that kind of stuff. And the whole thing was that was the only reason why these two fought. You thought, oh, they're going to fight, just like how the comics go and all that stuff. No, they got forced to because a stupid Lex Luthor had Superman's mother, or foster or adopted mother, whatever you want to say. Since she was kidnapped, oh, you got to go do this. And even when Superman goes to Gotham, he tries to actually reason with Batman, which I don't blame him trying to and explaining what's going on. But Batman already had his gadgets, he had his machine guns, he had like these kind of like wavy things to actually stop Superman from even trying to walk, and almost like a wind kind of thing it looked like. And like I mentioned in my regular review, the fight was so boring, it was so stupid, I did not care about it. I just felt like I had to say it again, even in the spoiler review here. Now we're going to get to Lex Luthor again with a guy who was in a wheelchair with no legs that he actually tries to, I'm going to help you be better than everybody else. Well, it turns out that this guy actually worked for Bruce Wayne. Well, what happened was with Bruce Wayne, the thing was after he realizes that this guy was going to talk about Superman as Superman is nobody, and I think he also mentions everything. Mentions some stuff about Bruce Wayne, this, and this, and he talks to one of his guys and says, "So what's going on? We paid this guy, and this guy had all this different kind of writing on there, and of course one of them was the whole thing, you let your family die," which we still probably think that could have been the joke and not this guy in the wheelchair. But who knows who may have actually wrote that or not. There was other stuff on the checks that pretty much like he voided the checks off and said, you need to believe, blah, blah, blah. Lex Luthor uses this guy whenever this guy goes into Congress and has he's the witness, and Superman is nobody and is a false guard and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much Lex uses this guy as a human bomb or a suicide bomb or something like that. Because what happens is that Lex actually gives him this really nice fancy new wheelchair, which was pretty much a bomb. So you have that too. Then you actually have, I'm going to say maybe 10 minutes if even, Kevin Costner makes an appearance where, Superman sees his adopted father, and but Kevin Costner's got to be in his own little heaven, it seems like. That, or it's an imaginary or a dream of Superman's or whatever it is. And he's almost like Kevin Costner, even though he's dead, tries to be the reasonable guy, and the guy, it's like, hey, by the way, this is what you should do, and this, and this. And it's usually when you get those kind of characters in the movies, try to help out the hero, they're usually dead. Or they're going to die, I should say. But in this one, he was already dead. So he sees, like I said, a vision of him or a dream or whatever it was on that. Then we move on again with, it's a lot more with Lex than anybody, isn't it? Where he actually gets someone high up to actually get General Zod's dead body. Well, it almost looks like that they're actually in the ship but it's pretty much covered in water, and Lex is like walking all around this, and there's like these big fish floating around. Well, he actually pulls out, he actually gets General Zod's dead body, he pulled him out of almost like a little truck or some kind of coffin or whatever it was, and he lays him there, and he's kind of floating a little bit, and Lex has a knife, almost like you think he's gonna cut open Zod for some reason. Well, he ends up pretty much slicing his own hand open and dripping the blood on General Zod's face. A lot more like maybe around, I'd say, more the nose and the mouth area. And pretty much actually lets him go, and he actually drops, I won't say like a ton of bricks, but he does start floating like in a watery grave. Well, he does use his body and, of course, Lex's own blood to actually create Doomsday to try to kill Superman, since Batman wouldn't do it. Now let's get to our heroes a little bit, which I'm surprised a lot more is with Lex than anything else. Let's start with Bruce Wayne. Well, Bruce Wayne ends up sending Princess Diane an email, and pretty much it actually shows other Justice League people. They show Aquaman, they actually show the Flash, and they show Cyborg. So they, of course, Cyborg trying to get created and all that. So they actually show those three, along with, of course, when they show their different symbols and all that. And of course, W for Wonder Woman, which she already clicked on that one anyways. So they have that, and he sends that to her. So it just seemed interesting. It almost seemed like it was almost out of place, this email of him sending this email and saying, hey, here's some other people that we got to try to find. So that was like, I was expecting something more at the end, or even the after credits, which kind of ticked me off. I stayed through all those credits, and there was nothing in the middle, nothing at the end, like how Marvel does. So I don't know if DC's like, oh, we're not going to do that, or what the reason is, or maybe they'll surprise us once in a while, which is kind of silly, but who knows. Then we have Superman fighting Doomsday. Now the thing is that Superman actually has to go get this metal stick with kryptonite on it that Batman created to actually, he was going to kill Superman with. Well, Superman, even though he's always weak around this stuff, tries his best to take this stick, which was actually under the water that Lois Lane tried to get. But the building she was in was collapsing a little bit, and she pretty much got stuck, and I thought she was going to die in the film. So the thing is that Superman ends up saving her. He goes down, and he actually grabs this. Of course, he starts floating to the top, and Lois Lane has to pretty much save Superman, pull him out of the watery grave, and throw away that stick with the kryptonite. But he's telling her, you know what, I love you. I got to do what I got to do, kind of thing. And you're thinking, oh shit, what's going to happen here? Well, he takes the stick with the kryptonite, and he's flying as fast as he can towards Doomsday while Wonder Woman's actually still fighting him. So what happens is he pretty much gets to Doomsday and sticks this right in his body, and he's getting weak. He's getting, it looks like he's about to dissolve, kind of thing, like it's a fall over. Well, before any of that, even before he's about to kill over, actually Doomsday comes out of nowhere and just like punches Superman like a big hole in his chest. So, and you think, oh no, how's he gonna, how are they gonna survive? What's gonna happen? Well, it actually turns out that Superman does die. They actually give him a coffin with Superman, his logo on there. So you actually have that kind of thing. Then you also have another thing earlier before he dies, where Doomsday and Superman are in space, and they have the missiles that's going to destroy, Doomsday, but also destroy Superman. Well, I got to kind of compare a little bit to the Frank Miller comics in the 80s and the cartoon that came out about 2-3 years ago called The Dark Knight Returns. I think it came out around the same time as the last Batman, with Bane and Catwoman as your villains, with Christian Bale last time playing Batman. And so the whole thing with that is the missiles actually do hits Doomsday. The other one does hit Superman. They show Doomsday, he falls back to the earth, and there he is lying there. It looks like they might have thought they got him, but he continues moving. And Batman actually has to try to come in and say, hey, by the way, talking to Alfred, saying, hey, by the way, I got to get Doomsday back to Gotham. I have this, I got the whole stick thing with the kryptonite, and I'm gonna kill him. So what happens is that they show Superman just floating there in space after he got hit with the missile, and his face is horrible. It's like it's melted a little bit, but it's ugly. It's really bad. And the thing is that they did the same thing with the Frank Miller cartoon movie. They did the whole thing in the Frank Miller The Dark Knight Returns, where what happens is in the movie, in the regular movie, Batman v Superman movie, Superman just floats there, and all of a sudden his face starts getting better just being there. Well, in the cartoon, which I think they did a whole lot better with it, is that when Superman wasn't, he was getting old, he was getting weak and all that, he had to touch like grass and flowers and pretty much kill a little bit of a section of Earth just to make him feel better again. And then we'll get to the final thing on this spoiler review, is with Lex Luthor getting his head shaved off, and he's in prison, and you have two guards that say to him, Luthor, turn around, put your forehead on the wall, and put your hands behind your back. I'm going to restrain you. Well, what happens is all of a sudden lights start flickering, and all of a sudden you have the doors are open and boom, there's Batman, who runs towards Lex Luthor after he turns around and sees Batman and pretty freaked out about it. Well, the thing was that he was going to brand Lex Luthor in the shoulder or chest area, but what happens is he ends up not doing that. He pretty much looks like he's about to, but he brands the wall behind Lex Luthor and just say, whenever you get out, I will follow you. I will be your nightmare. And I thought that was really cool. And then, man, it's crazy. So, but thank you guys so much for watching the spoiler Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice review. Hopefully you did get a chance to watch this and not just have me spoil it for you. If you actually did like it or did not like it, or what you thought about this review, give me a comment one way or the other. If you thought, you know what, not bad, or you know what, I didn't like it. So thank you guys once again, and as always, stay awesome.